Hello, welcome to the Accelerate Development Info session that we're hosting on Fairstream today. I am Alicia, I'm the community manager here at Fairstream. We're super excited to have Accelerate here today hosting this session. I'm going to turn the time over to Jaden from Accelerate to talk about their company, the positions that they have open. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat because we'll be doing a Q&A at the end of the session. And we will turn the time over to Jaden. Hello, welcome to the Accelerate Development.
Hey, excellent. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate it. And thanks everyone for joining in. I'm seeing some of the chat messages come in where everyone's joining from. That's exciting. We'll go through, I know there's a little bit probably of a lag between when I'm speaking and when it shows up on via the live stream. So I'll do my best to get through questions, but we'll talk about what Accelerate is, what we do, the people we work with, and the jobs that are available right now. And we'll do that probably over the first 20 minutes or so. And then we'll jump into the questions and hopefully get those answered for you. So thanks again, everyone, for joining, and we'll get right into it. So Accelerate itself, if any of you have seen our website, this is exactly what you'll see. We specialize in working with small businesses, obviously a lot of startups, especially venture capital-backed startups, and building web and native mobile applications. A lot of those companies are working quickly. So as you would probably imagine with a startup company, their goal is to get things done fast, get something to market quickly, and that's what we help them do. And for the employees and the people that we work with, our contractors and those that work with Accelerate, we get them experience with real projects, experience with real clients. And the benefit of that is being able to jump onto something, learn quickly, and move quickly with those startups. It's a great relationship builder with those clients, network builder, as well as building kind of your skills in development and a fast-paced work environment. So as was mentioned, these startups usually don't care too much what programming language their things are built in. So we specialize in a few, and then we also help where we can with those other development languages that are perhaps a little bit less common, but it is good to get a breadth of experience across the development environment here. One of the things that we pride ourselves on with our employees and those that work with Accelerate is the ability to get some experience in different aspects of development. So whether that's working with a client to estimate a project, to plan the timeline of that delivery, actually delivering the work and maintaining that product, there's a lot that goes into making that successful. So beginning a career with Accelerate is a solid first move because of that capability and that function to get a lot of experience across the entire scope of development and see what that looks like before even having to worry about that next step. So hopefully that's helpful to you, but we can talk about what the team looks like and how those things work at Accelerate. Now, these are not necessarily real people, but this is in order to explain some of the ways that we do what we do. We have a lot of different developers working on a specific team, and that team will work with their project lead and their client to deliver a certain project, whether that's a web application that they're building for a startup or whether they're maintaining a mobile app for a large company. That team will be dedicated to working on that client's work, and they'll be in a specific development environment, in a specific coding language, and they'll all work together to achieve that common goal. As you might notice below, the Accelerate support system is one of the things that we pride ourselves on to be able to not only provide these teams to our clients, to the startups and the companies that are working there, but also to help the developers grow in their own careers, to learn more about the technologies, to practice those things in more of a safe environment, to gain those skills that they would need later in their careers. So essentially, you're joining a team of highly skilled colleagues that can help each other to improve their skills. And while they're doing that, they're growing in the company, they're taking on new challenges, and they're really solving actual problems that real startups are facing. And that experience can take you far. Working on these teams will give you the ability to solve those big problems together. So it's an environment, as I mentioned, that's a safe environment to experiment, to try new things, and to learn more about how you can solve those problems with your team. I think one of the reasons that we like this is because it gives all of the employees the ability to put that on their resume and make that a part of their career growth into the future. So working with Accelerate, you gain that experience, not just in maybe the programming language that you brought to Accelerate, but it could be a different one. It could be one that you recently discovered, but that we have clients who are trying to build different solutions in those programming languages, and you can gain that experience to build your career foundation across development. So Accelerate support system, as I mentioned, I kind of briefly touched on it, but we'll talk about how between ramp ups for the team, weekly progress reviews, We try to highlight some of the successes on the team. We also talk about some of the things that we can learn, especially because we're all growing and learning about development and how it works. And it's a fast-paced environment. So giving the opportunity every week to review our progress as a team is a great benefit to making that work successfully. We do have a daily team stand-up. So each team that you're working on will work together daily, knowing that these jobs are all remote. Being able to participate together and continue to work together is a huge benefit to our clients and also to our company. Having a retrospective is something that we do every sprint. So we work in an agile framework, but each sprint we do have a retrospective to talk to the team and then one with the client to review what's going well, what we need to learn, and some things that we might want to pivot so that the client gets exactly what they're looking for. One of the things that we like to do, considering that a lot of our employees are coming from not as much industry experience, is to provide tech trainings that they can both teach and learn from. So each employee has the ability to teach one of these tech trainings in a coding language that they want to learn or something that they're specifically skilled in. They can teach that to their peers in that environment. So as I mentioned, you'll be exposed to new ways of working, new technologies, new programming languages, and new opportunities. So I want to talk about what working with XLR8 looks like and kind of more of the logistics of that. And we're almost done with the boring part of the info session. But essentially, when you start with XLR8, you'll start in a junior developer role, and that role will last for 90 days, assuming a traditional, probably 20 to 30 hour work week. Now, this will be based on your experience level when you start XLR8, and it's not necessarily meaning that you don't move between these levels. This is showing what level you were starting at as a developer with XLR8. So if you start as a junior developer 1, that usually means you have less than 6 months of experience in hands-on industry work. Sometimes that would be like a recent graduate from a boot camp or someone who's right in the middle of their collegiate degree in computer science or something similar. And moving down the line, junior developer 2 would be 6 to 12 months, 1+ of experience for junior developer 3, and 4 is 2+ years of experience. So depending on where you slot in to the beginning of work with XLR8, that's your first 90 days. And that's contract remote work where you're working 20 to potentially 40 hours as a contract employee. And you would be working on a team with a client. You'd be doing actual work for those first 90 days. Now, the interesting thing with XLR8 is after those 90 days are up, you have the opportunity to, I guess, graduate, you could say, but move from a junior developer role into a senior developer or project lead role. Now, the senior developer is still remote and still contract. I should mention all of our roles right now are remote. Obviously, I think that's pretty standard across the board right now. But the senior developer role is still contract. So those are hours per week, usually 30 to 40, where you have the benefit of your own schedule. So if you're working as a contract employee with XLR8, you don't have to worry about specific times and working in different time zones and things like that. You won't be directly interfacing with the client, so you don't have to go to all of those sprint reviews with the client. You don't have to do a lot of the different meetings that other employees will be doing. So a little bit more flexibility there, and you're working as a contract employee. If you choose to graduate instead of as a senior developer to a project lead, you'll be working as a salaried or kind of a mix of a salary hourly position with XLR8. So it's not contract, but you are spending more time working with clients, client interaction, milestones, managing deliverables, managing the team, as well as bringing on new clients. So sales is definitely involved as a project lead. So it depends on what you're really looking for in your development career. I know a lot of us are still deciding that, which is why we like to use the first 90 days to give people experience in a lot of different things. And then once they finish that, they have the opportunity to pursue one or the other, depending if they want to dive deeper into development, maybe start to mentor some of the other developers, or become a project lead. So I want to talk about our work, what we do. We build web applications. We also build mobile apps. These are some of the stacks that we most commonly use. As I mentioned, sometimes clients will come to us and they'll want us to maintain existing softwares. So sometimes we're learning new things, but as a general sense, we're doing web applications built in Django, which is obviously a framework based off of Python. And those are the jobs that we're looking for today. We're looking for Python Django developers. We're also looking for iOS developers. So as I mentioned, this is an opportunity for people to learn more about lots of different languages. So we're not hard pressed that you have to know Django or you have to have experience in Python before you can even apply to our roles. You're more than welcome to apply and talk about the experience you have potentially in other languages or your learning ability, even, we would definitely be interested to hear from you. But these are the roles that we're looking to fill right now because of client work that we currently have. I can talk a little bit about some of the clients we've worked with and work we've done, but essentially we've been building these mobile apps and web applications for a lot of different clients since we started in 2016. I wanted to take a quick second for the next maybe 5-10 minutes and just let some of our other employees talk about their experience with XLR8 and some of the things that they've learned during that time. Marcus, do you want to start?
Yep, I'll go ahead and go first. Hi, my name's Marcus Perez. I'm one of the senior developers. I've been at Accelerate for, I believe, 3 years now, 3.5, something like that. It's been an amazing experience. I started out working in mobile development and over the course of the last year, transitioned into web development, which worked well for the roles that I want to go into once I end up changing careers. Really great experience, really great to have on the resume. Everyone always, as soon as they look at that on the resume, they have tons of questions about it. Leadership experiences, working with clients, and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's a really, really good experience. I highly recommend it to anyone that is interested, even in the slightest. Yeah, that's really it for me.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate it. Calvin?
Hey guys, I unfortunately don't have a camera today, but similar experience as Marcus. I've had a great couple of years here at Accelerate. Through most of my college career, I've also been doing this work on the side sometimes, and then sometimes it's my main, I guess, source of income, main focus, like things during the summer months and stuff. But it's just been super helpful to gain experience, like with actual clients, working on actual projects for different website frameworks, both that I have used before that I'm getting a better understanding of, but also ones that I have never learned before and I'm trying to learn on the fly. So it's just practice learning, and then also working on actual like frameworks that I might use someday in the future. I made an application for Android. I've also worked on a couple different websites in Angular and Django, and it's just been, yeah, really valuable just being able to work on these different projects. Thank you.
Thanks, Calvin. Appreciate it. Rich, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I started working for Accelerate as an intern back in the summer of 2019. At that time, I felt overwhelmed by the new technologies on my table and my lack of knowledge. But management and my coworkers have been patient and kind enough to lead the way, walk me through the projects, get me on board, and work around my school schedule. I think Accelerate is a great place to learn, grow professionally, and show off your skills because we do cool stuff.
Thanks, Rich. That's awesome. So essentially, hopefully that's a good idea of what we're working on. And a lot of what was highlighted there is very similar to what you should expect. Working with Accelerate, working with lots of different tools and technologies to build cool things. And I think it's great to build that resume in that way, set a foundation for your career. And that's what we try to do here. So that's our quick spiel. We're definitely open to answering any questions. I know a lot of it was gone through very quickly. So any points that you guys want to review specifically, we are happy to do so. But at this point, we'll open it up for a Q&A and Alicia will moderate that.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jaden and Rich and Marcus and Calvin. That was awesome to hear about Accelerate. I'm going to kick off the Q&A. These positions are all remote. So how does Accelerate support employees that are remote and kind of build company culture, even though everyone is working remotely?
So that's definitely difficult, right? Kind of build that company culture while everyone's individually working in potentially different states and such. But I think what we try to do is what, like I said, with daily stand-ups and team meetings, is to ensure that we're all working with that same vision. We know what the client wants and what they're trying to build. So it's been definitely a journey to get to that point, and we're still learning. And we love when employees can come on and really help us build that, right? So it's not something that we expect to be set in stone from the beginning, but it's something that we're consistently trying to build. And over time, we hope that whoever joins the team is able to bring even their own spin on what that company culture could be and should be to make it even better.
That is awesome. We've got a question from Zach. He said, "Thank you so much for coming this morning. In Accelerate's most recent blog post, you talk about how your interview process for developers doesn't include whiteboard programming. Can you speak more about determining how someone's skill set is a good fit?"
Excellent. That's actually a really good question. And I appreciate that you read the post before the session, because I think that highlights a lot of what we enjoy about our interview process. We used to do whiteboard sessions, and I think a few of our employees on the call here had to do those, and I apologize. They're just not great. It just does not do a very good job of showing someone's problem solving skills, because at a whiteboard, I personally draw a blank many, many times, even though I do have a significant amount of development experience. It's not something that I enjoy or I feel like I could be successful in. So I don't want to ask that same thing of our employees or potential employees. So I think what we try to do is take a look at what people have done on the side, right? So any developer that I've worked with or met and hired and interviewed, we try to see what they're doing outside of work, outside of school, personally. I know it's great to see projects that they've maybe worked on in school as a school project or as a coding boot camp final project. Those are great, but I'm talking about things outside of that. So things that you've put on your GitHub as just a test. You know, if you wanted to make a website to do this thing, or you wanted to make a fun game just because you wanted to, that's where you can run into issues that you have to solve. And you have to figure it out, because there's no one supporting you. There's not a teacher, there's not an instructor there to give you the answer if you need it. You have to go in and you have to solve your own problems. And I think that really shows to us someone that can dive in and make something happen. So that's what we try to do in lieu of whiteboard coding sessions.
That is super cool. I like that you kind of give the opportunity for people to show their own thing versus forcing them into like, do this whiteboard and this is how we're doing stuff. Let's see, we've got a question from Trista. You mentioned that the job is contract 30 to 40 hours. For those looking for work, part-time is 20 to 30 hours a possibility too?
Another great question. 20 hours is definitely our minimum, just because we want to make sure people are keeping up with the deliverables and the milestones. And since the work does fluctuate, we would rather have a minimal amount of developers who are working consistently on the project, and it helps us to coordinate a little bit. So part-time is available, definitely. Since it's contract, 20 hours is our minimum. But depending on that commitment, we want to make sure that it's something that we can both provide the work consistently to you, as well as ensure that our clients have what they need. So 20 hours would be our minimum, but we work with that process in the interview. So if you're looking for 20, if you're looking for 30, if you're looking for 40, that's what we would plan for.
Awesome. And then in addition to that, Adam asks if there is ability for part-time internships as well.
There is that ability, yes. We would explore that definitely in the interview process as well. It just depends on what you're looking for in an internship, how long you're able to spend with the company and things like that.
Perfect. Let's see. Thomas asked, how many positions are you looking to fill and what are the start dates you're looking at?
We are currently looking to fill anywhere between 2 and 4, depending on, like the previous question said, depending on hours that the different employees are able to work. And right now we're looking for Python Django developers as well as iOS developers. And I know there was a second part to that question. Oh, start dates. As soon as possible is definitely good for us. We're ideally looking for someone to start the week of April 6th to 10th. That would be ideal for us.
Awesome. Let's see. Can you tell me, like, can you let the people in the chat know a little bit more of what to expect from that interview process? Obviously, they're not just doing a whiteboard process or whatever. So what should they kind of be prepared for? Or what are you specifically looking for?
Yeah, so something that we're definitely looking for is initiative. So anything that they can show that they've done in the past that can prove that, whether it's a personal project or whatnot. I love discussing those in the interview. Obviously, we work with clients a lot. We're a small team. So one of the things that is important is that presence, being able to convey your thoughts and being able to share those both technically and from a more of a business standpoint, to be able to converse with clients that don't have a technical background is something that we do a lot. So depending on, I guess, the flow that you go in your Accelerate career, whether that's through as a developer or as a project lead, it's going to depend on those things specifically, like what you can bring to the table from a communication standpoint, as well as a technical development skill.
Perfect. Trevor asked, what are the core values at Accelerate and how have you seen them in action?
Yeah, so our core values really rely around competency and communication. I think that's one of the things that we try to tell our clients. We tell all of our employees that we're really trying to work to help them to have that in everything they do. So between working and learning, as well as being able to communicate with your team and communicate with the client effectively, is what sets us apart from a lot of other development shops and what our clients really appreciate about us. So what we try to bring on as far as employees, as well as convey to the marketplace, is that.
Awesome. Sai asked, how flexible is the start date for the software developer position for Django?
I'm not sure if I have a great answer to that without maybe more context as far as what you're looking for. We could probably start one of the other roles. We would definitely need to start one that week. So that one of them would definitely be necessary. As far as the augmentation, so the second, potentially third Django developers, we could start maybe a month from now, but that's probably the limit of our flexibility depending on individual case. I would encourage you to apply and let us know, and we can move from there.
Perfect. Trista asked, what is the best way to connect after submitting an application? Should they reach out to you? What should they do there?
Feel free to reach out if you want to. I think easy would probably be LinkedIn, or whether you just want to send an email through our website, you can send using the contact form or info@accelerate.com. You're more than welcome to reach out. So, but we definitely read and analyze every resume that we get. So we'll definitely be sure to check that out.
Perfect. James asked, would there be an opportunity for a React Native developer at some point?
Potentially. Right now, we don't have clients working in React Native, but that's kind of the nature of what we do with bringing on new clients consistently, is trying new things and building a new technology. So while we do not currently have a React Native position, I would encourage you to ask again, maybe in 6 months, or even just keep an eye on our website or the LinkedIn page, because that's where we'll be posting any additional jobs or any changes to our current stack of technologies.
Great. If there are a couple of people asking or saying that they're like going to graduate soon, but they haven't graduated, should they apply for jobs even though they're just coming out of their program? Are you looking for people that are just fresh off their programs?
I think that's a good question, because that's what we definitely work with all the time. A lot of people are still in school or still working on their programs that they're in. That's not a problem. We don't require a degree or a graduation to work with us at all. It's more about what you bring to the table as far as your skills, your problem solving ability. And I would definitely try to highlight as much as possible. Probably the 8th time I've said this today, is personal projects that you've worked on. Your ability to go outside of curriculum and build something cool is a huge benefit to you in the interview process.
Perfect. So if you're looking for something to do, build a personal project. Matthew asked, being a recent bootcamp graduate, is there truly a place for people like me in a collaborative space full-time with experienced developers? I have the willingness to be part of a team, but I'm just coming out of bootcamp. And so he's not sure if he would be like a great fit.
That is a good, I'll give my answer and then I'll see anyone else on the call, Richard, Marcus, or Calvin, if you want to chime in on this one as well. But I think there's a lot more to development than necessarily years of experience. And I mean, there's a certain amount to be said for how good you are at Googling things. At the end of the day, it comes down to your ability to see a problem and think about it creatively. And I think anyone that can do that is able to be very, very useful on a team, especially with experienced developers, because that second set of eyes, as much as experience is useful, is valuable to a team and can be very useful to that group. So anything else that the team wants to chime in on that one.
Yeah, I can hop in on that. I definitely second that notion of as long as you have a willingness to learn. I came in here with a little bit of experience, mainly through coursework and one or two side projects, but really being able to learn here and learn from all the higher up devs on the stack was really nice. As long as you come with a willingness to learn, I think you'll succeed very well here. So.
Yeah, I'd say I agree. I mean, there's been a couple projects where the softwares have been completely new to me, and I just make sure that I set the time aside to really get a handle on it. Watch a lot of videos, do some learning through the documentation, stuff like that, and just make sure that I get a handle on things new to me as soon as I can. And I think as long as you can do that, then you can be successful here.
And I think one of the ways that people are successful is the fact that they can learn a lot faster when they're actually doing things. So maybe it takes a little bit longer through school when you're doing like coursework and tests and textbooks, but when you're on the ground building something, you learn very quickly. So if you're willing to put in that time and accept that learning curve, then you'll be surprised at how quickly you can ramp up to be an experienced member of the team.
Awesome. Cameron asks, as far as coming from different languages and frameworks, how do you approach those 90 days if there are certain languages an applicant hasn't had experience with?
Good question. Trying to think though. So I think right now we're really trying to focus on at least specifically web frameworks. So it might be more difficult for you coming from, let's say, I don't even know if I could give a good example, but if you're especially experienced in a language that we're not using, your ability to learn, I think, would probably not even take a third of the 90 days. If you have experience in programming, you'll be able to ramp up and you'll be able to understand how object-oriented programming works. It's very similar across the board. And I think those 90 days are more for maybe an extended working interview, let's say, an opportunity for you to show your skills, not necessarily just technically, but also in the other aspects of what makes Accelerate what it is.
Awesome. Laney asked, what kind of mentorship is available for new hires? Who would a junior dev report to on your team?
So in general, a junior dev would report to a project lead, and depending on the client, that would be myself or Jackson, who's also on the call. And I think it just, mentorship wise, we're all working together. We're all working on the same team. It's not necessarily a hierarchical structure, but we're here as resources. Everyone on the team is here as a resource. If you have a question or you want to learn something new, we can point you to external resources. We can set up time, as we talked about technical trainings. If there's a consistent question or something that we want to ramp everyone up on, we can absolutely host a technical training and have people share and start to learn that way. If people have other external resources they want to pursue, if there's a class on some platform that they really think could boost their skills, we're more than welcome to help potentially sponsor that to help the employee learn more. So our goal here is to help vault employees' careers, and we'll do that however we can.
Awesome. We had a question about where to apply. Obviously, they can apply through the Accelerate website, correct? But we also have the jobs button that's just under the live stream that you can click out to apply through jobs on Fairstream as well.
Yes, I'm popping that up right now to make sure that it's what we intended to be. I think the link to apply now goes to our website, but those who are on the call, I think that would be better served to go to LinkedIn. That's where we're collecting resumes. If you're too cool for LinkedIn, then you're more than welcome to send us an email with your resume as well. We're not too picky about that. So you can either send your resume into info@acceleratedev.com or hop over to LinkedIn and you can apply there.
Perfect. Leonel asked, what is the average annual salary, and is that dependent on experience? We had a couple questions about salary. So
yeah, it's absolutely dependent on experience. It's dependent on the experience you bring, and then how the 90-day working interview / intro session goes. But usually it starts, and it's such a huge range, unfortunately. Usually starts between 50 and $25 to $30 an hour. I'd say the vast majority of our starts are between there. And then moving up from there, depending on the experience that they gain at Accelerate.
Thomas said that LinkedIn is showing no jobs. So if it's not showing up on LinkedIn, like Jaden said, you can email info@acceleratedevelopment.com. Lainey asked, do junior devs interface directly with clients, or is that something only project leads do?
Usually project leads only. I think, as I mentioned, we're really trying to get people experience. So if they want to be participants in the sprint reviews with the clients, if they want to see more of what that process looks like, they're more than welcome to attend and learn. But yeah, we usually do have project leads managing that relationship, but that doesn't mean they're the only ones with access to the clients.
Perfect. Let me see if we got everyone's questions here. I think we are all good. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with people in the chat today about Accelerate, about the positions you have open, any of that?
Yeah, I can. I'm going to send a link to the LinkedIn post. I'm wondering where would be the best place for me to post that.
If you send it to me, I can put it in the Fairstream chat, or if you have that chat open, you can put it there as well.
I will do what I can. Let me know if it pops up in the chat.
Okay. Yep, that popped up in the chat. So everyone in the chat, if you are looking to apply for jobs with Accelerate, you can just use that link that Jane just put into the chat. Or you should be able to click the jobs button at the bottom of the video screen on the Fairstream app or website as well. And that should send you to a place to apply. Perfect. Thank you so much to Jaden and Calvin and Marcus and Richard for being here with Accelerate today and talking about the company and their positions. We appreciate everyone in the chat as well for asking lots of great questions. Feel free to reach out to us here at Fairstream if you have any difficulties getting connected, or to Jaden through LinkedIn, as he mentioned earlier. And thank you so much to everyone for being here.
Thank you all.
Awesome. Thanks. Have a good one.